Greetings. Today we are going to discuss in detail about the third unit of human computer interaction, and you know very well that this is belong to regulation 2013, and Anna University is planned to conduct these exam from 24th onwards, right? And you are going to write the exam in the pattern of MCQ. So all these things you know, and you have attended mock test also. I think you will be comfortable with that. And as far as this third unit of this human computer interaction is concerned, so it is dealt with models and theories, right? So whenever we are going to produce any product or any software related, right, programming or project, so we need to construct a model so that we can get a clear cut idea. So what we are going to focus, what are all the things that we wanted to achieve, and what should be the outcome, and all these things has to be analyzed with the help of models. So models are very essential for all things, not only for project, but it is for any prototype or anything which you are going to produce. So as far as these models are concerned in this third module, so it consists of cognitive models. We are going to discuss what are all the different types of right submodels available in cognitive model. What is cognitive model? All these things we are going to discuss. And socio-organizational issues and stakeholder requirements. So here the people who are going to develop these models or these prototypes, or we can say the task force, right? So how to behave and what is the methodology of making an interaction, how it should be. Those things are dealt with socio-organizational issues. And whenever you are sharing information, right, not only a single person is going to involve in the project, more number of people will be involved in the product development or model development. And during this process, right, you wanted to interact or communicate with all the stakeholders, how it has to be done, and if there is a possibility of miscommunication also, so here how to repair or how to overcome the problem of miscommunication. All these things we are going to discuss under communication and collaboration model. So here everything is since we are always interacting with the system, so here the hypertext or multimedia or world wide web, okay, these are the mechanism in which we can also able to interact with the people who is sitting in the other end. So these are the topic which is coming under this third module. So we'll see one by one. So the same thing I have represented as a keyword, right? These are the topic which we are going to discuss. And as far as this cognitive model is concerned, right? What is the meaning of cognitive model? So user is going to create a model, and this model is purely based on the understanding of a human being and the knowledge which is applied for developing this model, and the intention or the purpose in which this model is created, right? So applying a knowledge, so whenever we are going to develop anything, right, we should be having an output. Is it not? The our aim is or our focus is to develop a output, is it not? So for developing that model, right, what is the basic level of understanding we should have, right? How what we have understood, right? And then what are the types of knowledges we wanted to incorporate for developing this model, and how to process or what is the intention for developing this model. That is the main goal of developing this model. So when you talk about models, there are two different type, right? One is called model belong to competence, and another one is model belong to performance. So what is the meaning of competence model? So competent model is tend to be one that can predict legal behavior sequences, right? So the next steps, right? The sequence of behavior. So if I develop this model, then what should be the next level, right? So the next level, like that, it will focus the legal behavior of sequences, right? The task, right? For example, to achieve this output, what are all the steps that has to be followed? right? In the sequence manner. That is called as a competence model. And another one is performance model. This is very, very important model. Why? Because so it not only focus the sequence of behavior, right? But it also describe for the user. So here what the user need to know, right? So from this model, what the user is going to understand. That is the one thing that has to be depict, and how this is employed in actual task execution, right? So how because we are creating a prototype model, is it not? So but the actual output, right? While generating the actual output, and here these are the things will happen, right? That is the importance of this performance model. So not only it focus on sequence, but it also give detailed description about this prototype, why it has been created, and what would be the output of after execution. So here when you compare these models, the always people will go for prefer for performance model. For just for understanding purpose, nobody will create a model. So it has to give clear cut idea, and also it focus what would be the outcome of this model, right? So these are the two different types of models are available. So again, so when you talk about cognitive model, so it is purely represent the user of interactive system. We are talking about interacting with the computers, is it not? So here we will be applying our cognitive models. We know very well what is cognitive understanding, knowledge, or that is intention. Everything will be interacted with the system, right? So here when you say this cognitive model, it is right having three different classification. One is the hierarchical representation of user task and goal structure, and second one is so it is a detailed description, that is nothing but linguistic and grammatical model, and third one is how we are going to discuss or how we are going to make this as a successful one. So that is called as a physical and device level models. So first it is an overview, and it will tell you the hierarchical representation will tell you what is a goal, and second one the sub goals, that is called as a linguistic and grammatical model. So if this is the condition, what would be the outcome? If this is the condition, if we are executing, then what would be the outcome? That is called as a linguistic or grammatical model. And third one is how you are going to incorporate this, right, by using a physical and device level models. So these are the three classification under cognitive model, right? So we will see one by one. So the same thing, right? Hierarchical representation of user task and goal structure. It is directly deals goals and tasks, right? That is the reason why I told, right? So if you develop this model, what would be the outcome, right? That is the goals and tasks. For achieving this outcome, what are all the task steps has to be followed? That is the first thing. Second thing is grammar with articulation translation, how understood by the user, right? So that is the reason why I told this linguistic is called as a subtask, right? So here the user has to understand how this goal is achieved by executing what we are going to achieve. That is the reason why I told this task is divided into so many number of, right, subtasks. It is articulation is nothing but creating or manipulating the subtask. And third level one is, it is also called as a human motor level, right? So it is the best example is the keystroke and mouse click. So what will happen if I click the mouse? So for example, you are attending a MCQ. I think Anna University told, right, it will be only based on your mouse click, right? So you have to select the option by using a mouse click. So you know very well that four options is there, and you wanted to click one option. So that will give you the output. That is called human motor level. That is physical and device level models. So because why we are focusing this, why we need this, we are interacting with the system, right? We are interacting with the human beings, or interacting with the computer with the help of interfaces. So whether it may be a mouse, it is also one type of interface, is it not? So human is interacting with the computer system by using a mouse, right? That is called as a physical and device level model. Then so again, See, this cognitive complexity theory deals with error model, right? So we cannot say that my model is 100% perfect, right? So there may be a possibility that there may be some errors also comes, right? So here, how to deal with these, right? So here that is called Gomes model, right? Generally, it is represented, the complexity theory of cognitive model is also represented as a Gomes model. So what is the meaning of goals? So here G represent goals, O represent operators, and M represent methods, and the S represent selection. Right? These are the abbreviation for goals. So what is the goals? We know very well that what would be the output we wanted. That is the goal. So these are user goals describing what the user want to achieve. Right? So the output, that is called as a goals. Then operators. To achieve this output, right? So here what are all the basic action, that is a task has to be performed in order to get the output, that is called as a operator. So this is also called as a lowest level of analysis. So how we are going to achieve, what are all the actions that has to be focused so that we can achieve the goal. And the another important thing is method. So we have already noted there are typically several ways in which goal can be split into sub goals. So there may be n number of methods may be available to achieve the goals, right? So we cannot say that, right, for solving this problem, only one method is available. It is not like that, right? So for example, right, the searching techniques. There are n number of searching techniques are available, is it not? But we wanted to identify which technique is taking less time, less execution time to identify our search value. Is it not? So several methods are available and we wanted to select the first one, that best one. That is the optimized one. So the last one is a selection. So from the above snippet, what is the meaning of snippet? Right, it is nothing but the collection of method is called as a snippet. So we can see the use of word select where choice of methods arises. Is it not? So several combinations are there, several searching techniques are there. From that, we are going to identify a particular technique based on our requirement. That is very, very essential. Simply, if somebody is saying that this searching method is good, then simply I cannot select because I wanted to check whether my goals can be satisfied by using that searching technique. So there are searching techniques are available. So it will take more time, right? For execution time will be more, right? But it will accurately predict. There are some searching techniques are available. It will take less execution time, but we cannot give guarantee for accurate searching methodology. So here the different application need different requirement, based on that only I can able to select, right? From the group of snippet, right? Snippet is nothing but the method, right? So this is called as a Gomes model. Then, so here I told linguistic models. So what is the meaning of linguistic? If you apply this rule, then this will be the output. So if you apply this rule, then this will be the output. That concept is called as a linguistic model, or we can say that the subtasks are called as a linguistic model. And this is also called as a BNF, right? Backus Naur form. So it is a rule to describe the dialogue grammar. So this views dialogue at particularly purely syntactic level, ignoring the semantic of the language. So we will be focusing more syntactic level. And this BNF has been used widely specify the syntax of computer programming language. So here the syntax is very, very important, right? So if the if syntax error happen, then you cannot able to execute until you are correcting that error. So BNF is very, very essential while defining a linguistic model. And here the set of command is easier to learn than the mixed command is called as a congruence, right? So here you can easily understand the different types of command in a simple manner. So the understanding congruence is nothing but it is easy to understand the statement which is given in a particular programming, the step-by-step process. right? So each and every rule you can easily understand. If you execute that rule, what would be the outcome, that also you can able to understand. That is called as a congruence, right? The understanding level, right, easily understood, that is called as a congruence. And then the third one is physical and device model, right? This model is also called as a KLM, that is a keystroke level model. So the best example I told is clicking of the mouse, right? Pressing a button. That is the reason why it is called as a keystroke level model. So uses this understanding as a basis for detailed prediction about the user performance. How we are saying that it is a predicting, right, a user performance. When you click a particular mouse or when you click a button, you know very well that what would be the outcome it is going to be generated by the system. That is the reason why it is called as a predicting user performance. Actually, this model decomposes into several phases. One is called physical motor operator and mental operator and system response operator. So what is the meaning of motor operator? So by clicking a mouse, right? Right? There are four options. You are going to click any one option, is it not? That is called as a mental motor, because you will be, by applying your knowledge or by understanding the concept, you will be selecting one option, that is called as a mental operator. Then for that, for applying that mental operator, the system has to send a response, is it not? Whether it has to tell whether you have correctly pressed the answer or not. That is called a system response operator. So this physical and device model is decomposes into major three classification. One is a motor operator, the second one is a mental operator, and third one is the system response operator. See, for example, this is a state diagram. For understanding purpose, I have taken this state diagram, three-state model. So what is the state 0 represent? There is no feedback. Nothing is there. You are not doing anything in the state 0. You are simply idle, right? And here by using a light pen, you are using a tool, right? Device as a light pen, right? So you will be touching the screen, right? What is the action you are doing? You are touching the screen, or you can remove the pen. Both are. For example, I am touching the screen. So here state 0 to state 1, right? What you are doing, you are pointing some position, you are searching, is it not? By using a light pen, you are searching, right? By using touching of the screen, you are doing the action and you are searching something, right? That is the reason why it is called as a tracking, right? State 1. And state 2, what you are doing after searching, you will be clicking the button, is it not? Button down. So that is called as a state 2. That is called dragging, right? You will be moving the cursor and you will be pressing one button, is it not? So that is called as a action is pressing the button, that is button down. And what is the right state? It will be a dragging state. So from this state also you can reverse, right? That is also possible. So you will be having a button up, you will be removing and it will be come to tracking state, and removing the pen, again it will come to state 0 where there is no action is performed. So this is the concept behind this three state model of physical and right device model. Then, so this cognitive architecture, this is very essential. Why we are talking about cognitive architecture is, so we are focusing more nowadays. You know very well that the trend of the computer science is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Right? How this is emerged because of this cognitive analysis, the human understanding, applying a knowledge. That is the reason why we are talking about artificial intelligence. So here the machine is mimicking the human, right? Whatever the human behavior, that will be mimicked by the machine, right? That is a concept behind this artificial intelligence, you know very well. And here the system exhibiting rational behavior is referred as a knowledge level system. How this system is responding, right? For example, we know very well that there is a competition between human and the machine, right? So how this human is right behaving and how the system is behaving, right? That is called as a knowledge level system. So this knowledge level system contains a agent behaving in an environment, right? So here it will be acting as a agent. The knowledge level is acting as a agent between human and the system, right? So it is an interface. We know very well interface, or we can the person who is negotiating is called as a agent, right? Here who is negotiating, right? The system is, right, the interface is negotiating between the computer and human. That is the reason why it is also called as a agent, right? So there are four different activity that will be occur within a problem space, right? Whenever you wanted to develop any model, so there are four different activity that has to be taken care. First one is goal formulation. So you should know, right, what is your goal. Then what type of operations you wanted to perform. That is operation selection. Third one is where you are going to apply this operation. That is operation application. And once you have completed this operation application, your goal has to be completed. So these are the four different activities has to be performed under any problem. Problem space in the sense that if you take any problem, first you wanted to identify the goal. The second, you wanted to identify what manner you are going to solve the problem, and you wanted to apply whether it is working or not, evaluation, right? That is called operation application. Once evaluation is correct, your goal is completed, right? So this is called as a cognitive architecture. And the second important topic is social organizational issue and stakeholder requirement, right? When you talk about this stakeholder requirement, so here there should be a cooperation or it should be a conflict. These two terms are very, very essential, right? So we are interacting with the machine, right? There is no doubt in that. But the machine is interacting with the human. Other end also human being is there. So either human being or it will be a machine. So it is called as a CSCW. Computer supported cooperative work. Everyone has to jointly, it is a group activity, that is called as a cooperative work, right? So before installing a new computer system, whether explicitly cooperative or not, one must identify the stakeholder who will be affected by it, right? So for example, immediately I am going to create a setup, right? Everything I am computerizing. Then in that case, right, what is the behavior of the stakeholder, right? Whether they will be affected, right? Whether they need training, all these things, whether they are having jointly work for doing a completing the task, right? Those things has to be analyzed. And changing the power structure, the official line of authority and information tend to flow up and down through the line management. You know very well that the hierarchical level, right? So you'll be having a principal, then HOD, then like the designation, is it not? That is called as the hierarchical. The way in which the information has to be flow. In an organization, in any organization, the hierarchical model will be there and they will be taking care of their own responsibility. Whether they are doing this cooperative work or they are having a conflict. That is very, very important. That is a requirement for the stakeholder, right? And here there are, right, even though the everything is available and they are doing a cooperative work, but even then there may be some failures can occur, right? So here what is the meaning of invisible worker? The ability to work and collaborate at a distance can allow functional group to be distributed over different sites. The back-end workers are called as the invisible workers, right? So who will be benefited because of this, right? If suppose you are having a cooperative manner of right, working together, then who will be benefited? So one frequent reason for the failure of information system is that people who benefit from the system are not same as those who do the work. That is the reason why they focused more towards invisible work. The people who are creating or developing that model, but the credit will be taken out by some other people. For understanding purpose, I am telling, right, your project will be assigned to 10 people, submodules, tasks are created, modules are created, and 10 people are working, and there is a project manager. So who will collect all the work and he will say that I have completed this work. Is it not? So here that is the right drawback which is available in the socio-organizational issue. One of the issue it is considered. So the lesson is that the information system should aim for some level of symmetry. So they should be equal, right? That is called as a symmetry. So it should not have any conflict or difference of opinion. It should be symmetry. If you have to do the work for the system, you should obtain some benefit from that. So it is a common goal. You should have some common goal and it should be symmetry. So there should not be any invisible workers and all are treated equally. Then that particular organization can achieve top level, right? And another important problem here is free rider problem. So even when I told even everything is perfect but system is not functioning properly, what is the reason for that, right? So even when there is no bias, right, all are treated equally. There is a symmetry is there towards any particular people. There is no bias towards any particular people. The system may still not function symmetrically. So what would be the reason? So because of lack of communication in the system, right? So that is called as a free rider problem, right? And here we know very well that everything is automated, but somebody has to monitor, is it not? So the major task in many organization is moving a pieces of paper around. So moving, right, the task has to be completed. There may be so many number of subtasks. All these subtasks has to be dispatched properly without any delay. So that is very, very important. So here this approach, a more radical approach to an organization process is called as a BPR, business process re-engineering. So why we are saying it is a re-engineering? So if there is any problem in subtask, for example, 10 tasks are there before achieving a goal, 10 tasks are there. If the fifth task is delaying, then automatically it will be reflected in other tasks. Am I correct? So in that case, so we need to correct the problem which is faced by the person who is executing the fifth task, right? He won't delay purposefully, but there is some problem, right? System is not working or having some problem. Because of that, he cannot complete the task in a faster manner. That has to be corrected and it has to be, right, the goal has to be achieved within a target time. So that is the reason why this business process is called as a re-engineering. So BPR represent business process re-engineering. Whenever it is necessary, we can do modification. That is the concept of re-engineering. So here the next one is the stakeholders, right? The people who are involved for developing any outcome, right? So here stakeholder therefore can be defined as anyone who is affected by the success or failure of the system. So they are the responsible person for the success as well as the failure of the system. So when you talk about the stakeholders, there are four different types of stakeholders. The first person is called as a primary stakeholders. They are nothing but who are actually use the system. That is the end user, right? So who are involved, right? The other sense we can say that he is the invisible users, the end user. That is called as a primary stakeholders. Then the secondary stakeholders are nothing but who do not directly use the system but receive the output from it. Or we can say that the project leader, right? He is not developing a code, but he is collecting the output. That is a secondary stakeholder. And the ternary stakeholders are who do not fall into either first or second category, but who are directly affected by the success or failure of the system. For example, the director, right, whose profit increases or decreases depending on the success of the system, right? So who is the person responsible? The director of the organization, director of the institution, whatever it may. That person, right, will be gaining a profit or increasing the profit or decreasing the profit because of the success or failure of the system. But he is not doing the job. And last one is facilitating stakeholder, right, who are involved in design, development and maintenance of the system, right? So who is drawing and how to process all these things, the idea they will be given, and if right, the maintenance of the system, already create a project how to maintain. If some modifications are there, then they will do all these things. These people are called as a facilitating stakeholders. So these are the four different types of stakeholders available in the organization. So here this socio-technical approach captures certain common elements. So the problem being addressed, there is a need to understand why the technology being proposed and what problem it is intended to solve. For example, for developing the project, we are going to use these technology. Why we are going to use these technology, right? That is called as the problem being addressed. And the second important thing is the common element. Under this common element, the stakeholders affected, including primary, secondary or tertiary, or facilitating together with their objective and goals and tasks. Who and all going to affect because of this, right, methodology. And the third common element is the work group within the organization, both formal and informal people or stakeholders. The changes or transformation that will be supported. So if you are upgrading or doing some modification, then during that time, right, some people will be affected or some people will be benefited, right? So that is also we need to focus. And the proposed technology and how it will work within the organization, that has to be analyzed. So when you propose a new technology, then you should have a visionary to analyze, and you wanted to predict that if we implemented this methodology, what would be the result, right? That analysis has to be done. And external constraint and influences and performance measures, this is very very crucial or very very important element, right? External constraints. So if you adapt this methodology, what is the external problems, right, or external, right, requirement that you need to focus, right? What would be the influence of this new product, and how it will be benefited for the society as well as for the organization, right? How much of profit you will be getting because of implementing this proposed technology. These has to be analyzed in a socio-technical approach. And the another important methodology is called as a custom methodology and a socio-technical methodology. So it is especially used for practical purpose in small organization, and here it is based on user skills and task match. So this is very very essential. So you wanted to understand what is the skill set of user, and based on that you wanted to assign a task, right? The mapping is very very important. So that is called as a custom methodology. So the custom methodology focus establishing a stakeholder requirement. All stakeholders are considered, not just the end user. So you need not focus only end user, right? So you need to identify whether this project coordinator is having a capability to complete the task, getting a work from end user, right? You wanted to analyze that also. That is, you wanted to understand the skill set of each and every person, and you wanted to assign the task. That is called as a custom methodology. And there are 6 key stages to carry out this custom analysis. So you have developed and everything is okay. Before implementing that, you wanted to analyze these 6 key stages. So describe the organizational context including its primary goal. First, identify its primary goals. Identify and describe the stakeholders, who and all, right, involved in creating this model. Then identify and describe work groups. So after identifying the stakeholders, you wanted to categorize, right? Oh, these people has to perform this work. These tasks has to be assigned to this group. Like that, you wanted to describe work group. And the fourth one is identify and describe task object pair. So which task is given to which person? That is called task object pair. Pair is nothing but you are making an association, right? Mapping, right? This task, this person is suitable, right? That is called task object pairs. And another important thing is here people will be there for working, but you wanted to understand their needs. That is very, very essential. That is called identify stakeholder needs. And the last one is consolidate and check stakeholders requirement. So in all level, you wanted to collect all information and then you wanted to check the stakeholders requirement. So if you follow these methodology, then you can gain more profit in an organization. And the next one is I told, even though everything is there, but if there is no proper communication is not there, then right, you cannot get success. So here the communication is very, very important. So here it is a face-to-face contact is the most primitive form of communication. We know very well that the face-to-face contact is the primitive, or we can say important communication. So here it has to be done in a right, that is when you perform this face-to-face communication, it has to transfer the effects and personal space. That is very, very important, right? So where we are talking, right, in which location we are talking and in which manner we are talking, that is called a transfer effect. How we are communicating, that is called a transfer effect. And eye contact and gaze, right? You know very well how you are speaking, all right, while speaking, right, how you are behaving, right, whether you are having a eye contact, right, and gesture, right, the body language, that is very, very important. And back channels and confirmation and interpretation, right. So here that is a back channel, right, represent that the shrinking of the shoulder, right, the small noise, oh yes, like that. So these are called as a back channels. And confirmation is nothing but how much you are strong in your point. And another important thing is interruption. So interruption in the sense, while you are making a communication conversation, during a conversation, if somebody is telling wrong information, then you can interrupt and you can write post your views, right. That is called interruption. So these things has to be notified while making a communication, right. So here when you are doing a face to face communication, the utterance can be classified into three kinds. The way in which you are telling, that is called utterance. And here whether it is a substantive, directly relevant to the development of the topic. Then second classification is, and if suppose somebody is telling going in different direction, or right, wanted to clarify the information, then it is called as a annotative, or it can also be called as a point of clarification or elaboration, detailed description. For example, one person is saying no, but actually it is correct. Then in that case, why you have said correct? You wanted to elaborate, right? That is called annotative model. And third one is called as a procedural, talking about the process of collaboration itself. How, right, the stage by stage, right, everything has to be discussed in detailed manner, right. That is called as a procedure. Even though you are following all these things, there may be a chance of breakdown. What is the meaning of breakdown, right? The other person may not be accepted your, right, uh, the point which you have told, right. The communication gap build up, and here you wanted to clarify his doubt, and then you wanted to correct, that is called as a repair. Breakdown and repair. So confusion in talking is called breakdown. So because of some confusion or because of misunderstanding, right, the breakdown will occur. And clearing the doubt, right, and convincing the other person, the opponent person, is called as a repair. So here these also very, very essential as far as face to face communication concern, right. And here there are four types of textual communication. So not only face to face communication we discuss, textual communication is also very, very essential. First one is called as a discrete, that is a direct message, directly you are sending a message. The second one is linear, participant messages are added as a temporal. So you are just in a group, you will be sharing the information, right. All participants are sharing the information. And non-linear messages are added as a hypertext, right. For example, I am not clarified with certain information, so that my friend is sending some right, video, right, for proving his words, right. So that is called non-linear. And last one is called as a spatial, arranged in two-dimensional structure. And here while doing this communication, that is your textual communication, the task analysis is very important. So it is a process of analyzing the way the people perform their job, right, while making a communication without any confusion how people are performing their task, right. And for that we wanted to do this process. It is called as a hierarchical task analysis, and it is also done by using P into C rule. So what is the meaning of P into C rule is the probability of making a mistake in the task is multiplied by the cost of mistake is below a threshold. So we should not allow it should come down under threshold. So one is P stands for probability of making mistake. Because of mistake, the cost should not be down, right, below the threshold level. Before that, it has to be corrected. The task has to be rectified. The problem has to be solved, right. This also very important as far as any communication collaboration models are, right, incorporated. So all these things are integrated with our system. That is the reason why whether we are sharing the information by using a world wide web, that is the internet, or whether we are sharing in a local network, or we can share by using any mobile devices or any communication medium. Everything is done by using a, since we are automating everything, everything is done by using a machine. Is it not? So the communication, everything, whether it is a textual communication or face to face communication, everything is comes under communication and collaboration model. So with that I have given some overview about this human computer interaction of third unit, and now we will see right how we can focus this with the MCQ. Wait a minute. Yes. So here, as far as this MCQ is concerned, I know right very well that I discussed in detail about models and theories. This is the topic, and under these models, so the models are classified into, right, two types. Is it not? Competence and performance. Generally, the models are classified into two types. One is called competence, and another one is called as a performance. Third one is the correct answer. Then cognitive model represent users of, right, what? Users of what? Interactive system, right? So we know very well the knowledge, the understanding, and the requirement, right? All these things will be interacted with the system. That is the reason why it is called as an interactive system. And the third one is CCT stands for. CCT stands for cognitive complexity theory, right. We have discussed under the architecture, cognitive architecture, we discussed cognitive complexity theory. That is the first one is correct. And fourth one, GOMS. GOMS stands for what? Goals, operators, methods, and selection. The expansion of GOMS is goals, operators, methods, and selection. So for fourth one, right, the second one is the correct answer. For fifth question, DNF stands for, right. So we know very well DNF is nothing but Backus Now Form, right. This is the expansion of BNS. And the sixth one, right, tag, right. Tag is nothing but the task action grammar, right. We know very well that. So the task has to be, right, subdivided into subtasks. That is nothing but action. That is the task action grammar. TAG stands for. Then seventh one, the set of command is easier to learn than mixed up command is called what? Congruence, right. So here it is a combination of, right, while writing a programming languages we have discussed. Is it not? It is a combination of easier to learn, to understand what is a flow, right. That is called as a congruence, right. Third one is the correct answer. Eighth one, user performance can be measured by using which model? Right? KLM model. Right? We know very well that how we can see, right, what is the outcome while interacting with the machine. So it is a KLM model. So what is the meaning of the first one is correct. What is the expansion of KLM? Keystroke level model. I told one example, mouse click, right, or pressing a button, right. So that is called keystroke. So KLM stands for keystroke level model. So for ninth one, third one is the answer. Ninth question, third option is the answer. For 10th one, knowledge level system contains dash behaving in an environment. Right? So I told knowledge level is nothing but interacting human with machine. So the interface, who is right interacting? The interface is there between right human and machine. Is it not? So that interface is also called as a agent. Right? So for 10th one, first one is the answer. And 11th one, problem space consists of right goal formulation, operation selection, operation application, and last one is right goal completion. Right? So this is the sequence in which the problem space has to be focused. Right? We wanted to formulate, identify the goal, then you wanted to select the methodology, that is operation and selection. Third one is how to apply, right? Operation application, and last one is the goal completion. That is nothing but the second one is the answer. Right? For 12th question, CSCW stands for, what is CSCW? Right? Computer supported cooperative work. That is called as a CSCW. Then what is free rider problem? Right? So here no bias, even then the system is not symmetric. Right? So that is called free rider problem. Right? This we have discussed. Is it not? Right? That is no bias. Right? Even then the system is not symmetric. Right? Then 14th question, BPR stands for. 14th question is BPR stands for. So BPR is nothing but business process re-engineering. I told you what is the meaning of re-engineering also. And 15th one, right, the people responsible for success or failure of the system is called, who is the responsible person? Right, 15 is a stakeholder. Then 16, people who are involved with the design, development and maintenance of the system is called, right, who is a facilitating stakeholder, right? And the ternary stakeholders, right, are represented as directly affected by the success or failure of the system. The director, I told, that person is responsible for success or failure of the entire system, right? That is the reason why directly affected by success or failure of the system. And 18th one, USTM stands for. So 18th one, right, user skills and task match. Right, we wanted to map what are all the skills available with the user and the particular work has to be assigned. That is the meaning of user skill and task match, USTM. And 19th one, right, one of the fundamental structure of conversation, right, that is called turn taking. Right, the for 19th one, fundamental structure of conversation is turn taking. Right, for example, when we are making a conversation, one person is talking, then other person will be in silent. So when other person is talking, then the opponent person will be keep silent. This is called turn taking. Right, it will be like what we can say, that it is a interactive. Right, that is the reason why it is called turn taking. And 20th one, artisans can be classified into three kinds. One is substantive, annotative, and third one is called as a procedural. Right, these are the three types we have discussed under artisans. And 21, clearing in conversation is called what? So we have discussed breakdown and repair, is it not? So these are the two way. Breakdown is nothing but right confusion in conversation. Repair is nothing but the correcting, clearing the doubt. So the repair is the answer. And 22, right, what is spatial text communication? So spatial text communication is arranging messages into two dimensions. That is called spatial text communication. And the 23rd one, task analysis means, right, what is the meaning of task analysis? They right, the 23 is the way people perform the task. right? We'll be analyzing the task, right? That is called task analysis. So whether they have completed the task or not, the way people perform the task. Then 24th, HTA stands for what? Hierarchical task analysis, right? So we know very well the tasks are arranged in a hierarchical manner and it has to be executed. Is it not? HTA stands for hierarchical task analysis. And the last one is 25th question is what is P into C rule, right? So what is the meaning of P into C? Probability of making mistake in the task is multiplied with cost of the mistake. So that should be maintained in one threshold, right? So here making a mistake, right? We cannot say that when a system should not contain any mistake. Mistake may happen, but it has to be multiplied while, right, calculating the benefit. It should not go beyond the threshold value. So it should not be less than the threshold value. So that is probability of making mistake in the task multiplied by cost of the mistake in threshold level. That is called P into C rule, right? So here with that I have completed the third module. Just I cannot able to discuss in detail. I have given a overview of this this third module. I think it will be benefited for you, and if you like this right type of interaction, please like and subscribe our channel, so that in future we are planning to conduct more gate awareness program, as well as some areas we wanted to focus in gate. So if you are interested, please subscribe our channel. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.